Hi, family. My name is Cookie, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. Never in my life would I have told y'all I was an alcoholic because, no offense, if you get mad, call your sponsor. F for white folk. This is a difficult month for me as far as my emotions is concerned. Can y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all hear me? Okay. For the newcomer, I'm glad you're here. My anniversary of my mom and my grandmother's death is this month. So I'm kind of like all over the place, right? I don't want to stop and be still like I was taught to stop and be still. And then he come calling me and telling me it's time me to tell my story. I said, I'll be damn. I was supposed to be on my way to Beaumont. But that's okay, it's just right down the street. I can go tomorrow, right? Welcome, everybody. Y'all look great. Oh, my goodness. Y'all look good. If you're mad because you're here, this too shall pass. I'm telling you what was told to me when I got here because, I'm a newcomer. I got feelings all over me, right? And every time they said something, I didn't say anything out loud, but I gave a look. I was like, how that bitch know? Excuse me, can I cuss? Oh, okay. Kind of late to ask, ain't it?
We have a limit of 35, though.
Oh, okay. It's not going to be that bad because I've been working on that area of my life. My sobriety date is February 3rd, 1996, and for that I'm truly grateful. And before 96, I did a lot of drive-bys. The only thing I heard was people sharing things that I haven't experienced yet, and I was like, that ain't me. They must be buying some bad dope. Drinking some cheap wine. And as my disease progressed, and still, I'm a chick by the hair of my chin, I always escape certain things, right, in my life because I had no business doing it, and, it's all about saving my ass by right now. But anyway, this time I came in because my consequences landed me in Harris County. I don't like silver, I like gold. And it was a room twice as big as this, full of women, and I'm like, Lord have mercy, what did I do? All I know is that it was a bright, sunshiny day, and I ended up there, and after that, everything is I don't know, but when it was time for me to get out, you're looking at a girl who never had a speeding ticket, but I got out on parole. I said, what the hell is parole? I had no clue about legal language, jailhouse language. They taught me, But I learned, and I said, I'll never do this again. And every time I said, I'll do this again, I couldn't remember what had happened for me to get here in the first place, for me not to do it again. So I went to a meeting. I didn't come through the doors of AA at first. I came through what was really glaring at the time, and it was whipping my butt, and that was, can I say it? Cocaine Anonymous. And I sat on the back row against the wall. I had on these black shades at an 8 o'clock meeting, hoping nobody see me. And they asked, who were newcomers. I don't know what a newcomer is. And I remember I was that one who stood up and said, I need help. And this lady came and got me and guided me from the back to the front row and told me to sit in that particular seat every night. And that lady just celebrated 40 years. And because of her, the doors were open to other women that were already there in the room. And every time they would share their experience, strength, and hope, or what had happened, I was going like, me too. Me too. Because I thought only things like that would happen only to me. So I got comfortable, man, and they said, get a sponsor, work the steps, get a God your own understanding, help others, do some service work. And I was like, God damn, they asking a whole lot, ain't they? Goodness gracious. And they pointed up on the wall. And they said, well, these are the steps we took. And I read through the steps, and I got to step 1, and I was like, powerless, unmanageability, not me. But when I asked this stranger to be my sponsor, and I liked her because she stood 6'2", she was real quiet, and she was dressed a certain way, and that attracted me. And it gave me the door to go up to her and ask her, will you be my sponsor? And she was my sponsor. And she listened to me, and I got my neck rolling, and I'm going to kill him. All I need is the other women to stand on the corner, let him cross the street, and I'm going to run him over. I was obsessed with that thought. And as I kept sharing that thought, I didn't know I was taking the power out of that. The old timers would just laugh and hug me and say, keep coming back. And I said, yeah, but y'all don't understand. They understood. I didn't know it at the time, but they showed me a thing called unconditional love. And at the end of the night, when they gave me that hug, I felt as if I was worthy. Even if it's for this much, I felt as if I was worthy. And I told on myself, and I told my sponsor, I said, well, I live in the neighborhood. If I go to the left or to the right, there it is, and there they are. What do I do? And back then, WWJD bracelets was coming out, and I had 3 of them, and when I drove, I was like, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Because I didn't want to go to the left. What would Jesus do? I would say that to myself every time I left home and every time on my way back. And if that's what it takes to save you, say that. Because I had an idea about Jesus, because I went to a private school and we studied the catechism in the Bible. We had to memorize the verses in the Bible and all this kind of stuff, but I did what I wanted to do just to pass the class. You know what I'm saying? Like Bill, he have a big important meeting, he will stay sober long enough to go to that meeting, and after that, it's a wash, right? Well, anyway, when I asked her to be my sponsor, she said, well, get a big book, get a 12 and 12, get a tablet. And I was like, God, dog, we going back to school? I wasn't a good student in school, because I skipped school, go to Galveston when it was time to drive on the beaches, get in the back, and they passing the T.J. Swan, and I'm passed out in the back. We get back to school before it's out at 3 o'clock. I finally come to. I got a mouthful of gum. Our school is really small, so the principal was handing out report cards that day personally. So he came up on me. He said, Cookie, I ain't seen you all day. Now, mind you, it's only 5 blacks there, and I'm one of them, so it ain't hard to miss, right? I said I had to go to the dentist, and I'm mouth full of bubble gum so he wouldn't smell the wine. And I got by. I said, ooh, I'm pretty smart. So I knew I couldn't, now I know T.J. Swan don't like me. But when I asked this lady to be a sponsor, and I got my big book, and I showed her, and she said, bring your big book with you every time you come to a meeting, she had me to read page 30. And on page 30, there's the shortest sentence that caught my attention. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. And I read that sentence over and over, because I wasn't ready to die. I was willing to do whatever they told me to do, finally. They say, meet us here at 6:30 in the morning and get in the car. And I was like, I don't know these people. They're telling me to get in their car. Well, what they did for me was show me all the meetings in between 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. I never laughed so much in my, as long as I can remember, I laughed so hard all day long, had a whole lot of coffee, and we ate, and we went from meeting to meeting. They showed me that. That's what they did. And that's how I got to know a few of the old timers personally, was outside the rooms. That's when you get to hear the real stuff, what happens, you know, when you get outside the rooms. But anyway, I did that, and I started doing service work. And on Wednesdays, it was this lady named BJ, and she would open up the coffee bar, and we had like a semi-little store. We were selling everything, and so I always came in there early so I can tell her I hate him, I'm trying to kill him, and she looking at me like this. She said, you know what? I want you to take this key, and I want you to be here 30 minutes before the meeting and start this coffee. And I was like, she ain't listening to me. And the bottom line is that I got through that without knowing I got through that. I no longer was sharing I want to kill him. It was about me living differently today. And I went to another meeting, and they started talking about peace. And I said, well, I know peace. And I was kind of like, my phone stopped ringing, right? Nobody was calling me. Nobody loves me. And I was sharing that in the meeting. She said, baby, that's called peace. Enjoy it while it's here, because it's not going to last for long. And I said, oh, is that what that looked like? It was a lot of things that I didn't know what it looked like, you know, because I had to look up words like delusion, illusions, concede. And it's not like I'm a dumb person. I got my degree, you know, but I had no clue, and I did not know how to read, or it pertained to me in the big book, There I Am. Because as the words, as I understood and studied and went to big book studies, the words would jump off the page, and it would form my silhouette piece by piece until I came together. Because what the women did, they stripped me down and they built me back up. And I'm still being built back up. I'm still a work in progress, you know what I'm saying? So one day at a time. It was a beautiful, sunshiny day, and I was sitting in my bedroom, and that was my first 24 hours sober. I woke up in my own bedroom, and I was so happy. A red bird came and sat down on the fence outside of my window, and it looked like he was talking to me. And I was sitting there going, whoa, like I ain't never seen a red bird before. I probably didn't, I was too high, but anyway. I was like, whoa, you know, and I was so, you know, oh my goodness. And I had collected numbers by that time from different women, and I would dial their numbers, and I'll tell them what I seen. They say, okay, baby, we'll see you at 7:30. I was, man, get out of here. So, moving forward, I was able to work all my steps. And my sponsor, she started off like this. She said, my God is so big, he got you. I have never heard that before in my life. And when she told me that, it kind of scared me, but it also gave me comfort at the same time. We alcoholics, we just have emotions all over the place. We hear what we hear. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hear what I hear. I can't talk about y'all, but I can, because I know you, but I don't. But I'm going to keep coming back, because, see, they told me to keep coming back. They didn't say, go get drunk and keep coming back. They want you to come back between the drink, you know, without drinking, right? So we had to change, keep coming back to stick and stay. Stick and stay. So as I studied the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, as you can see, this is full of information. Oh my God. And then we got to page 58, and we talked about, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And I was going like, what path is this? Now they got me being Dorothy. I got to follow the yellow brick road, right? And however I seen it, I did it anyway. Because what I know and what I seen in them women and some men, that's what I wanted. And I did not know how to get it but I was willing to learn how to get it or be that way or look that way. So I kept coming back. I got into service work. I started off working in a coffee bar. Then I went to GSR over the meeting. Then I went to World, when we had the World here at the Hilton downtown. I had the hospitality suite. I love to give parties, man. I just have a blast. And it was different. We had a whole lot of coffee, a whole lot of people from everywhere, and they was having a good time, and I was giving out free gifts, man. You know, we just had a good time. I don't know about your God, but my God is no longer my grandmother's God or my mother's God. They had a punishing God. And I said, well, if I'm going to die, just take me out of here with a bag of weed and a bottle of gin, and I'll be happy. You know, that was my thought, you know. But then as I kept reading this book, and they were talking about the mental, they talk about the mental all through this book, don't they? So the other words, I'm crazy. And I have no problem letting you know that my thoughts are distorted sometimes, right? The deal is I just don't act on them, you know. So I'm still listening, and I get to, what a damn step said. Oh, I got it in my book. Okay, so when I got to step 3, it says, make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to care of God as we understood him. And I was like, what? Just make a decision. They say 3 frogs on a log. One decided to jump. How many frogs you have left on the log? I'm sitting there going, what? And as I kept coming back, I finally got it. I was like, okay. So I decided to follow the people who the problem had been solved, because it seemed like they were getting on planes and going to conventions and going to world conferences all over the place. And I said, I want to go with them. And I was able to go with them. We got on planes, we traveled in groups. The stewardess didn't know what was happening because nobody was drinking alcohol, right? Them little bitty things. Ain't enough for me, I'm sorry. But I participated in my life instead of just existing, not knowing what it was going to look like. But I had an idea of what it's going to look like if I follow my mind. So what I do today is, and it's real crazy because I was getting on 59 to come this way, and then it was telling me, you know, it's a 15-minute slowdown. I was like, dang, and I'm looking at the clock, and I said, just as soon as I get situated, I'm gonna call my sponsor so I can hear her voice, and my phone rang, and she called me. My first sponsor, you know, she's a driver, and she decided she got her CDL, and she wanted to drive 50 states. And she said that I had to get another sponsor, and I cried like a baby. No. She said, Cookie, you're going to have to get somebody that's close to you, because my phone might not be working, because I'll be up in the Appalachian Mountains and here and there and everywhere. So I followed her direction, and I got me another sponsor, and that's the sponsor that I have today. And going through that's when my grandmother died, and I had 4 years of sobriety. Still recovering from a hopeless state of mind, body, and spirit. But the crazy thing is that I really didn't know everybody in the rooms. I would see them, I wouldn't know them by name, but it was when my grandmother passed, it was more of us in the coming to support me than normal folks, they think, because they need the 12 steps too. They just don't know it yet. But I was so in awe because the men and the women came to support me. See, because I don't have no brothers and sisters. Okay, so I'm an only child. My grandmother is the queen, so what she say goes. So I was a manipulator, I was a liar, and I was a partier because my grandmother's about looking good and having a good time. My mother is a disciplinarian. She would whip me. She would tell me go to the tree and give me a switch, and I'll get the smallest one. I stopped doing that because I learned the hard way on that one. So my parents were from the hearing impaired community. So there's another world I had to grow up in, and it's the deaf community. So I'm about my facial expressions is just what it is, you know. You'll know if I like it or don't like it. Just watch me. So then I had my grandmother's world, and she was a caterer, and she started catering at the age of 16 when her mother died. So I ended up working for my grandmother at the age of 12, and I love it. That was our bond over the stove and pots and finding new recipes and getting along together. And I was going to HCC to get my certification in interpreting for the hearing impaired. And it kind of pissed me off because everybody that was in that class said, ooh, they make a lot of money. Ooh, they make a Bitch, you know how much money I spent? Talking about, ooh, they make a lot of money. Who cares? I'm of service to somebody else. That's the whole point for me to do it, because I was sitting in the Social Security office and there was a hearing impaired person there, and they didn't know how to communicate with her, and I did. So the officer that was there, he seen me, and he said, do you have your certification? I said, no. He said, you better go get your certification. So I had started my class and everything, and even my instructor was hearing impaired, but he was the cutest thing. But anyway, and we really got along, and I'm really glad that that was a special gift to me. That was a God gift to me that I know, because people will ask me stuff like, how do you know? Well, how do you know? You know, I have to put it back on them. Leave me alone, man. My mama and daddy raised me. Come on. So my father passed in December, and when it was time for the semester to begin, I didn't go back. I had a lot of things to do, and I still had a lot of legal things to do where my grandmother, my mom, and my dad, you know, was concerned. And I keep saying I want to go back. I keep saying I want to go back. And until I really put one foot in front of the other, go through that door at HCC, and I'm almost finished, and do my practicum, I can have my certificate. I can be legal then. I just can't carry a gun. So now I understand by me making it to turn my thoughts and my life over to care of God. Because what I seen thus far, working these steps, I seen God working in my life through others, right? So I keep coming back. So it says, the fourth step is made of searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. And I was like, why do they want people like us who lie to themselves to do my own self-inventory? That I didn't get it. So I just kept coming back. You know, once I get stuck on the step, my sponsor would take me to the step before so I can clear it and keep going forward. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Ooh, you know, I could not wait to do my step 5, because I was going to tell my sponsor, and I was writing everybody down who did me wrong, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But when I finished my step 5, I found out that I'm the common denominator. I couldn't blame nobody else no more. I did that. What part did I play? I started the craziness. I am the craziness, because when I drink, I'm 10 foot tall, I'm bulletproof, and do not step up. That's crazy. And that's exactly how I thought I was, who I thought I was. And then when she had me to write down what had happened, and I had to read it out loud to her, I didn't even know I was talking about me. A lot of that stuff hurt. But to get to the good part, you got to go through the bad to get to the good. You know what I'm saying? So I kept on going no matter what. I cried like a baby. I was on the floor. I was rolling back and forth. You know the story. And this is, we're entirely ready, step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Home, watch out. I hung out with Boo Man and Mookie. Those characters I thought they were talking about. I didn't know I had defects of character. So this was really a revealing situation for me. I was like, God dang, I can't, look at what? So I had to look at my own defects of character. And so what I do know is that they not gone because they surely can come out. I just have to keep practicing and be mindful, and my awareness have to get bigger, because before I know it, things happen. Things will jump off before I know it, because I remember by now I remember how I got to Harris County, because I was very full of, I was humiliated, I was in fear, because you have all these women that were there on welfare fraud, right? And there was this big chick about as wide as that table. She'd sit on the floor, her boobs would hit the floor, and you pass by her and she'd talk about you. So I stayed away from her. I said, she ain't gonna talk about me. She too big. And it's just happened I got an upper bunk, so I slept with one eye open, one eye closed. And we had them little bitty windows at the very, very top. And I remember that month that I was there was in July, because you can see the fireworks come through the window. And that's all I remember. I don't remember anything until they gave me my parole paper. And I carry my parole paper with me, because this is what it's going to look like, and it can get worse. A reminder just for me. And I had to find out what's really going on, because I never knew who Cookie was, because my grandmother, everybody loved my grandmother. She was a caterer. She catered to the Jewish community. All the Jews loved Mary. They just loved Mary. And when they found out I was Mary's granddaughter, they loved me, and And I was like, ooh, this is a whole lot of love. But anyway, I was in her shadows for a very long time. And for a very long time, my name was Mary Mason's granddaughter. I didn't have no identity. This program gave me my own identity. Okay? I'm just saying, for those who feel that way. So every time I look at the steps, see, I can't write the steps down no more. My sponsor told me I had to live the steps. I was like, what? She said, now it's time for you to live the steps. I was like, God, dog. I said, okay, whatever that looks like. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. I had to write a lot of letters, because everybody that I've taken advantage of, they had already passed. And what I had to do was making the living amends to my parents before they passed. I was able to do that. I was blessed to do that, to make my living amends to my grandmother and my parents. And if something goes wrong, the first time I went home, something had happened. And whatever happened, everybody looked at me, and all I could say was, I didn't do it. That was the first time I told the truth. I didn't do it, but I had to let them be where they're at. Okay? Continue to take personal inventory. Lord have mercy. When we were wrong, properly admitted it. See, I had to learn how to do that without saying I'm sorry. I did not know that. I was taught how to make my amends to somebody else if I had to do it verbally. You right? Sought through prayer and meditation. So this is an old timer, and he shared how he when he hears God speak to him, and he says, hell, I take a bubble bath, light my candles, and I hear God with me. And I was like, but no. But so I start practicing when I take my baths, light my candles, and just be quiet. Because right now, my recovery voice is a lot bigger than my disease. My disease is still my disease. And if I don't be careful, I can let it out and it can get worse. It says that in the big book. I just read that. It gets worse, never better. And as I look at, so I can not forget where I come from, I say, yep, it did get kind of bad, didn't it? It was bad. It was bad enough for me to let those ladies tell me what to do, give me some suggestions, follow up, call me on my stuff, and I didn't even get mad, because I'd be like, girl, you don't know who you talking to. You know, I had no problem with that, man, you know, because what I know is that they are glowing, they are smiling, they have enough courage to tell their truths, and everybody's like, yep, in the meeting. I was like, I want to do that one day. Because the bottom line, if I go to church and say all this exorcism time, all and everything else, you know what I'm saying? So I'm real grateful for the room of Alcoholics Anonymous, because I can come in here and I can give y'all my stuff. If y'all want to carry that, that's y'all business. I'm done. I'm through with it. But I just can't forget. Ooh, saw through prayer. Sometimes all I can say is, thy will, not mine, be done. Thy will, not. So my mother is a family of 13. And she said all her brothers are shade tree mechanics or preachers, right? So when they come down to Navasota, because she's from Navasota, Texas, when they come down for family reunions and we get ready to say prayer before we eat, we standing up an hour or two, and I be going like, you ain't finished yet. But what I found out is that I used to pray selfishly. I'm selfish and I'm self-seeking. And it wasn't the first time I had to pray for somebody, I had to pray for him. And I told my sponsor, I said, are you kidding? She goes, no, I'm not kidding. You need to pray for him. I'm under, I didn't say it out loud to her, but I'm just, you know, okay. And I did that. And the bottom line is that no matter how long it took, it got better for me. And they used to say things like, I would drink the poison expecting them to die. And I was like, who does that? You know, because I didn't understand nothing they were saying. They were talking Japtalian up in there. And so it was real cool for me to do a one-on-one with my sponsor so I can tell her, you're going to have to break that down to a sister. I'm from 5th Ward, and we do not talk like this. Okay? Thank you for sharing. So anyway, I keep coming back, man, you know, and so if you have any questions, on Wednesdays, see, when we had meetings from Sunday to Sunday. So on Wednesday nights was the newcomer to ask questions, because newcomers couldn't share, because the only thing that we was able to share is the disease. And it wasn't about the disease, it was about the life after the crazy, right? How do I, because I know I'm a square pig trying to fit in a round hole. Now my edges are getting a little bit more round, and I'll be able to fit in that hole. You know, so I love that meeting, because it was so many of us that were really thirsty for this program. And now they call them classes. Fool, you are not in class. Can somebody relate to that? I'm in class. Really? You're going to get graded on this. You either get a casket or you get some peace. Pick one. That's what they used to tell me, pick one, life or death. I was like, well, of course I want to live. So They say less is more. I'm sorry. What does that mean? And I understand what that means, So I'm smart, right? So the chick at the nail place, she messed up my eyebrows. I had one up here and one down here. So I don't let her do my eyebrows no more. So I had an idea. See, keep away from the ideas. I had an idea, so I got the little razor and now I don't have none, right? So I'm running around town trying to find me an eyebrow pencil. Trying to find me an eyebrow pencil. I had one up here and one down here. I said, this shit ain't gonna work. But anyway, I'm getting better at it because I'm practicing. Just like I'm practicing that, I practice these steps, man, in my walk. See, what they don't know is, I'm able to go out there outside these doors and be of service to so-called normal people, and they really don't know who behind the wheel. And they love it because they say I drive safely. I said, well, thank you. Because I'm in there too, so, I ain't going to do no risky nothing, right? So I just got a text today. I've been off a couple of days, and when I'm off a couple of days, I try to do my house chores, So I'm running from one side to the other, from up, down, and all around in the yard, just doing all kinds of stuff. Because I know what's wrong with me. When I'm angry, when I'm irritable, I get real crazy, and I'm going like this. Finally, I sat down. And see, they told me if you can't sit down, that's why they say get here 30 minutes before the meeting so you can talk to somebody, so when 8 o'clock show up, you can hear the message. And I used to have to sit on my hands. They used to make me sit on my hands because you can't move once you do that. And so I still do that. And I remember after my daddy had died, it was so quiet. After my daddy died, my dogs died. They died of cancer. So now it's really quiet. I ain't got nobody to talk to. They look at me like, lady, you all right? But that's okay. And I cried. I was crying. I was sitting on the couch and I was crying, And so I called my sponsor. I said, I don't know, It's not that I feel bad, but fear. She said, girl, I'm going to come and punch you in the stomach if you don't look around and see what God has done for you. And I did that. And I seen what God has done for me, because the bottom line is that every time I plan something, it turns to shit. Every time God do something, it's like, what? For me? Because it turned out a lot better than I would have ever imagined it to be. Ever. I don't have no brothers and sisters, but I gained a whole lot of them in the room, and boy, we have the ball. You know what I'm saying? I can call anybody from here to Canada, from New York to California, and I know somebody in the rooms, and I am welcome to their house. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa, because we know each other, man. Just don't let nobody in your house that's been using, because when you wake up, you might not have your stuff. But I'm just being real with you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been shared before. They let somebody up in the house and their stuff was gone. I say, ooh, bless you. Thank you for telling me that. So I'm going to keep coming back, man. It's not a whole lot. I hope somebody got something of what I shared. Because I don't want to be standing up here. If they would have told me that before I got here, I would not stayed. This is not my, y'all, it's too many eyeballs out there. I'm behind the scene chick, If work need to get done, I'm the one to do the work, and thank God, because every time I make a stop, every time I leave home, I go as far as Louisiana. I was able to, and the lady that, my first sponsor, she was a limo driver. And so without even getting any information, like I usually do, I want to do that. So she called me because this guy was looking for drivers. She called me. They told me what to do. Now, I followed directions today. I did what I was supposed to do. And then it took a little bit long for me to get my badge because I have security clearance at the airport, right? And I did not know that they were sending my papers through the FBI. And when I went back up there to check on my badge to see if it was ready, the lady said, well, they got a backup at the FBI. I said, what FBI got to do with it? They said, I like to fainted when she told me that, I swear, and I was like, then I got angry. I said, they didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me that part. But the bottom line, I got my badge. So if if an alcoholic like myself can get a badge and go through FBI checks and everything is okay, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. But you got to do some things before you get there. You know, things don't come automatic. It's things I have to work. And most of the time, I work it, and sometimes I don't do nothing. You know? If I would have known how long it was going to take me out here, I would have left at 3 o'clock and brought a lunch. I was like, God damn. You know, I got off 59 because it was something I had to, I was leaving the airport the other day, and I got off at Lee Road, and I seen Old Umber Road, and I said, well, hell, I can go this way, you know. So I got off 59, and I came down, and then here come the police officers on a 2-lane street. Lane is kind of, the lanes are full. You can see they lights. They trying to get through. People don't know what to do and stuff, So I just move out the way, and I stay in my hula hoop so they won't run over me, So I was like, man, all I can say by the grace of God, they didn't come after me this time. I remember them Christmas trees. I know how big their guns are, okay? They've been up in my face, okay? But the cool part is I went to go to class to get my license to carry, and we went to the gun range, and I was able to shoot his gun. I was like, ooh, yeah, So I can't get my license on shit. I guess that's a God thing too. You never know. It saved me from me, and then saved them from me, because things do happen. I'm gonna read this because I love this. This is my favorite, and I'm really working out the 3rd edition, and they got a 4th edition, right? Where is it? And I love these stories in the back because these stories are just talking about me all over. I was like, how in the hell they know? They don't know me. Bill don't know me, but he do. Just for me. Just for me. Okay, so it's the story of Join the Tribe. And I'm just going to read the last paragraph. I say, just let it happen to sober Indian. Say to the sick, red-eyed alcoholic who want just good medicine. Put cork in bottle. No drunk, hopeless, if he want to follow a guide along the right trail. Go to AA meetings. Listen, not just hear noise. Get sponsor and phone numbers. Call friend in AA when bad thoughts come. Let group spirit of love and understanding protect you. Take my hand, walk with me up 12 steps of AA to peace. To Indians I say, don't be afraid to join AA. I once hear people say only Indians crazy when drunk. If so, AA is full of Indians. Join the tribe. Join the tribe. No questions, thank you.